We've seen some dirty plays this year, but what went down with Sophie Cunningham was next level. And the player behind it was none other than Bria Hartley.
Dirty, dirty Bria, of course. It had to be a dirty, dirty Bria. I would really hate to see ya.
Her move didn't just take Sophie out of the game. It exposed something much bigger. And honestly, at this point, this was not just about one hit. This was a warning. Because let's be real, at first it was Caitlin Clark, then Sophie Cunningham. And the funny and obvious part? No ejections, leaving a big question mark on the league once again.
All right, there's an obvious hatred towards Caitlin Clark. There's an obvious hatred towards Sophie Cunningham.
And if this keeps up, you already know who the next target might be. So just wait a little while to know what secret agent already told, rather warned about the next victim. If you're done watching star players get picked off one by one, write "protect our players" in the comments. For those who don't know, let me give you a little context. It was Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever this Sunday. A physical game, sure. But then came the moment fans are still furious about. Bria Hartley went at Sophie Cunningham in a way that left people shocked.
And this time around, she had her eyes set on one Sophie, the trophy, Cunningham.
We're not talking about tough defense. We're not talking about a clean play. We're talking about a move so reckless, so unnecessary, that Sophie was left hurting. And here's where it gets crazy. People online didn't just see this as a hard foul. In fact, they saw a pattern. In the middle of the game, Bria Hartley drove into the paint, dished off the ball, and then something weird happened. She stumbled straight into Cunningham's right knee. The collision twisted her leg in the worst possible way, leaving Sophie clutching her knee in visible pain.
Dives for Sophie Cunningham's knees. Doesn't even try to avoid the collision. Doesn't try to move out the way.
She tried to tough it out, hobbling across the court for a few seconds, but clearly the pain was too much.
We got Sophie Cunningham writhing around in pain. Definitely hurt.
Eventually, she collapsed to the floor, cradling her knee while teammates and fans watched in shock. But things didn't just end there. Almost instantly, a photo started making rounds online. In that, we could see Hartley appearing to smile while Sophie was in obvious pain.
And there was also a photo circulating online where Bria Hartley's kind of on the ground and she's looking up and it looks like she's smiling. She's kind of like, it looks like she's smiling from this photo and Sophie is grabbing her knee in the photo.
This single image lit up social media, sparking debates, headlines, and outrage from fans everywhere.
WNBA has an issue with dirty play in this league. Dirty play skill masked as dirty play.
See, here's the thing. It's one thing to play tough. To bump, to grind, and of course, make it physical. But what we saw with Bria Hartley on Sophie Cunningham's knee was not just physical. That was dirty.
Bria Hartley, you know how much of the benefit of the doubt you deserve in this case? The answer is 0.
And as if that wasn't enough, the picture of her brutally laughing over this made fans really mad. Even Sophie's teammates were shaken, and her family weren't staying quiet either. First, her sister Lindsay came up on X and dropped a statement that went viral.
Of course, this happened, this injury happened, and Sophie Cunningham's sister was none too happy about it and slammed the WNBA.
Maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call consistent games and protect your athletes. It's pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie. She said what every fan was thinking. Protect your players. Do your job.
WNBA leadership is actually okay with. They believe this is good for the league because it's bringing attention to the league. No.
Right after the post, fans flooded the section with heartwarming wishes for Sophie and appreciating her sister for speaking up. However, there were some hate comments too, with one simply saying, "Protect athletes, shut up B-word," and Sophie did not hold back and showed them their place instantly.
Obviously, our tempers flare up, and Sophie Cunningham goes and gets her back, gets JC Shelton back, and Sophie Cunningham gets rightfully chucked, and JC Shelton gets chucked for attacking Sophie Cunningham, and same with Lindsay Allen.
And Sophie saw this comment, and bless her heart, she answered it.
She maintained her grace and said, "Some of us were raised by the words of 'don't bite off more than you can chew,' and some of us didn't." Fafo.
This hater out there, and there's a lot of them right now. I said yesterday they're mad because Sophie's being called a superstar and this and that and the other. Yeah, Sophie's got more pull than your Asia Wilson.
And then came the news nobody wanted to hear. The Indiana Fever officially reported that Sophie Cunningham will miss the rest of the season with a knee injury. At first, they were vague. They didn't even specify what the injury was, only that it was season-ending. That alone sent shockwaves through the fan base. But soon after, insider Alex Filippo filled in the blanks. He revealed that Sophie had suffered a torn MCL. And just like that, her year was over. Honestly, it was gut-wrenching news.
So I got a bad feeling that Sophie Cunningham is going to be out for quite a while. I have a bad feeling she's going to be out for quite a while.
But then there is a silver lining. See, when you hear knee tear, your mind immediately jumps to the worst possible outcomes. An ACL blowout, a shredded meniscus, or even the dreaded patellar tendon tear that can end careers. But compared to those, an MCL tear is actually one of the more forgiving injuries.
And when you talk about tears in your knee, an MCL is one that has a quicker recovery period for the most part.
The recovery is usually shorter, and the odds of coming back strong are much higher. And that's exactly what fans clung to. The hope that Sophie's setback was serious, yes, but not catastrophic. And that she would return next season, healthy and hungry, ready to reclaim her spot on the court. So, right as the dust started to settle, Sophie herself decided to set the record straight. On the very day the diagnosis went public, she dropped a brand new episode of her podcast, opening up about the injury in her own words. There, she confirmed the tear, revealed that she would indeed undergo surgery, and told fans her recovery timeline was about 4 months.
But I did tear my MCL.
Now, hearing it from Sophie directly felt different. But of course, she did not stop there. She knew what people were saying online. She knew about the picture of Bria Hartley smiling in the aftermath of the injury. And she knew the internet had run wild with accusations of a dirty play.
I don't think that there was no ill intent. I think it was basketball play. I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. She fell. Like, there's no way that she would go in there and intentionally try to hurt me. And so,
And this is where Sophie showed a real character. She looked into the mic and said,
like, Bria and I are super cool, and like, she would never try to hurt me, because there are some girls that I think might, but she wouldn't do that. And
Now, Sophie basically addressed this and she was like, I'm friends with Bria. I do not think that she did this on purpose. She wouldn't do this on purpose. She would not hurt me. Like, I'm actually really close with her.
And just like that, Sophie poured water on the firestorm. How the situations impacts the team. Now let's shift focus to the Indiana Fever, because this injury isn't just about Sophie Cunningham. It's about what it does to an already battered roster.
However, this injury is such a huge blow for the Indiana Fever.
Think about it for a second. Sophie is out, Sid Colson is out, Ari McDonald is out, and of course, Caitlin Clark is still sidelined.
But I think a lot of fans are speculating, will Caitlin Clark be back? Because Sophie is now out for the season, will the Indiana Fever risk it by bringing Caitlin Clark back?
And that's what has fans asking the big questions like, will Caitlin Clark return if Sophie is out? Should she? Would the Fever even risk it? In all honesty, if Caitlin Clark were the face of an NBA team in this exact situation, there is no chance, literally zero, that they'd rush her back for just a handful of games. They'd shut her down, preserve the investment, and build for next year. But this is the WNBA, and they operate very differently. There's more sensitivity in how they handle stars, different front office philosophies, and honestly, it's unpredictable. That's why following this Fever squad has been a total roller coaster. Steph White even broke down in tears in the locker room, telling her players, "You guys just never give up. That means so much to me." That's the heartbeat of this team. No matter how many injuries pile up, they keep swinging. But again, there's bad officiating, and nobody can deny that.
She got chucked for this. Anytime Sophie Cunningham does something that is technical foul worthy, she gets a technical foul.
So maybe, just maybe, the Fever will push to bring Caitlin back, even if it's only for the last couple of regular season games or a playoff run, assuming they even make it.
Consider playing Australian rules, AFL when you retire. I mean, AFL is supposed to be a sport that's, extremely physical.
Now, with Sophie sidelined, expect Lexi Hall to slide back into the starting lineup alongside Odyssey Sims, Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, and of course, Aaliyah Boston holding down the paint. If the Fever string together some wins in the next few games, that could completely change how they handle Caitlin's return. But if the season continues to spiral, there's a strong chance Caitlin Clark doesn't touch the floor again until 2026. And that's where things stand. Caitlin Clark sidelined, Sophie Cunningham gone for the season. The Fever limping into the toughest stretch of the year, and yet the whispers keep getting louder. Because if this really is a pattern, if star after star keeps going down, then Deutsche is next.
Shut up B-word at her sister when Sophie Cunningham took out JC Sheldon. Reality is, the referees dealt with it.
The truth is, this feels less like bad luck and more like a targeting spree. Call it reckless, call it dirty, call it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you're wearing a Fever jersey, you better keep your head on a swivel. After Sophie whispers have been buzzing around, the WNBA is officially under fire, not just from fans, but from the media, players, and even their families. The backlash is exploding. The league has no excuses left. Either put severe fines on players who go dirty, remove the officials who failed to protect athletes, and replace the corrupt refs with ones who are fair and accountable. Now, the WNBA has two options. Take action now, or be ready to watch its collapse under its own corruption. And trust me, when that moment comes, it's going to be huge. Write "protect our players" in the comments if you want WNBA officiating to take action before something actually happens. And for more WNBA drama, updates, and news, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you on the flip side.